who are we, where are we going, how do we plan to get there? Those are the key components of any successful strategic plan, and I think this is a successful plan because it addresses those three questions. I've always appreciated from Ray, and by the way, the panelists didn't talk in advance about what we were going to say. I think we'll echo one another, as I will with some of the things Ray's already said. But I've appreciated from Ray his appreciation of the distinctive niche of the Keough School and its mission to advance integral human development. He made reference to it in his remarks. But Ray, Michael, and the team at IGD have demonstrated the seriousness of their commitment to this value proposition by articulating in various forums, by articulating the way that it describes and determines our priorities, practical choices, and commitments, and in particular, IGD's distinctive contribution to a field of research, practice, and policy and advocacy on poverty and inequality that is, after all, a vast topic to begin with, a long-standing enterprise which neither the Keough School nor IGD nor even Notre Dame invented, and which has been very increasingly complicated, the field of studying and advocating and practicing around poverty and inequality. We are newcomers, novices in the field here at Notre Dame in a very important way. And we thankfully have a leader who has vast experience in this field, having led Oxfam America. But in general, we're standing on the shoulders of the generations of giants and plenty of others who have toiled and are tilling this field. I resist calling the others pygmies in contrast to giants because they include an array of non-diminutive institutions from the U.S. Congress to the World Bank to J-PAL type research and think tank operations, so they're hardly pygmies. But I'm simply saying that this is a field that has been tilled and toiled, and it's not new. So the question becomes for Notre Dame, where do we contribute? How do we contribute? What value do we add to a complex set of conversations and debates and deliberations and policies and laws in this country and around the world? That's an obvious question, and it's a question I think this plan addresses head on. So what is our distinctive niche as a Catholic university, as the Keough School? The strategic plan does provide the answer about the destination and the roadmap to get us there. Simply put, and this is something I've heard from Ray and Michael and others, it's not my own formulation, but in IGD and in this plan, Notre Dame's distinctive contribution will be to go the last mile, because often technology and development stops before you get to the most remote villages and the people who have least access to the technology, to the medicines, to the education that is available. Catholic Relief Services, of course, is dedicated to integral human development as well, and is a natural partner for us because as a Catholic university cares particularly about the most vulnerable, the most marginal, we seek to create programs and educate our students and young professionals in what it means to deliver these services in an effective way to people who otherwise won't have access to the great things that are already available. And that's a real challenge. So we want to go the last mile, accompany those the greatest distance from access to the technology and medicines and education that much of the world enjoys. So we're headed for the margins, for the poor, for the displaced, the most vulnerable, those on the far end of the inequality gap. That strategic plan makes that clear. The strategic plan makes it clear. How do we get there? The plan eloquently sets forth the itinerary. And the first thing I think to say about it is we do not presume to tackle this long-standing matrix of challenges on our own, but by effectively partnering with a variety of organizations. That's the third element in the plan, but in a way it's at the centerpiece. Recognizing that we're a startup of sorts, we're new to the game, and in any case, everyone has to partner in this field. And so partnership is going to be at the heart of any kind of success we achieve in education, in research, in outreach. And so it's important that partnership be lifted up as it is in the plan and explored. Partnerships from corporations. And here again, we give Michael credit. for years has been one of the instrumental figures in IGD to develop our corporate partners and the relationship we already have with corporate partners. The relationship from corporations to Catholic Relief Services to agencies of the United Nations, and even to, may sound like a novel idea, to IGD's own brother or sister institutions within Keough School, the other units and centers, and because one of the things we need to do better and better at, and I'm taking role of what institutes are present here today, and we'll be talking to those who are not. Of course, they've internalized the plan already. They don't need to be physically present. But in fact, the collaboration doesn't end or begin with those outside the university. There are units in the Keough School and beyond in research in the other colleges and schools that are natural collaboration partners, and for whom IGD poses a challenge to some of them, because they're different kinds of units that in some cases in the Keough School are more traditionally kind of mainline academic institutions with research and teaching. Others, like Keough, as we've already mentioned, and Keough, have already started leaning for years in the direction of policy and practice. But IGD is kind of throwing down the gauntlet with this plan and with its kind of renewed 2.0 with Ray here, to challenge the other units in the Keough School and beyond, to think more clearly and deeply and systematically about how their research in these different dimensions of global development, how their research and teaching really has to continue to mature in the direction of policy and practice. So that's an important challenge to the plan implicitly, but I think in another way transparently puts before all of us. The Keough School, that is, as it grows, will be one of the places that increasingly supplies, as it were, the heft, the expertise that allows this strategic plan and the proposals that will be associated with it, that are and will be. Our faculty will help to fill in the gaps that we've been looking to do over time. It won't happen overnight, but overall, as we develop a culture in the Keough School of research, teaching, policy, and practice in a much more coherent way across the board, IGD will benefit from that, as will the other units. So this will be mission-driven, focused, competitive, and I think ultimately successful. Finally, we not only cannot and do not work alone, the strategic plan proclaims, but we are seeding a future not our own, to borrow a phrase, by educating and training what will soon become a new, fresh generation of young development practitioners and professionals. And we'll be doing that, the plan makes clear, not only in the classroom, but in the field, and imagining the field in a variety of ways, what the field might imply. Through our iLab program, our Peace Practicum, which is already part of the school, where our students are already engaging in the field and with clients and partners. We're working on some aspect of development, poverty alleviation, and so on. In the summer institutes that were in development that we mentioned as one growth area, in Center on Social Entrepreneurship, growing expertise in Melissa's area and others in IGD. So these are growth areas that really will enhance our educational mission, because we are handing on the baton to others who will deepen our expertise and our presence. None of this works, of course, without a clear vision of what we're about, which is the beginning of the plan, actually, going backward, of research excellence, structured and focused to yield policy-relevant findings in sustainability, humanitarianism, global health, development within weak states. All of these areas, of course, require collaboration, as we've mentioned, partnerships with the Eck Institute, with Mendoza, with science, engineering, and of course the social sciences, just to mention Notre Dame. So these areas of research focus and excellence, IGD can't do that alone. It can't do it now alone, and it won't be able to do it in 5 years alone. It has to do it in partnership, beginning with other schools and departments. So to conclude, what is the challenge that this plan presents? The challenge is the field and the need is so enormous, so vast. Even having said we want to go the last mile, we want to focus on evaluation of impact of aid effectiveness, and to focus in a particular way on policy. Even having said that, there's so many areas, from hunger to poverty reduction to trials that help us come up with better solutions to the impact of conflict and climate change on these problems. The Keough School itself, it tries to bring together these different analytical lenses on different dimensions of social problems that are global in scope and in scale. And so when IGD says we're going to, in a sense, inherit the full mission of the Keough School and Notre Dame in this, it's almost like replicating the school in and of itself, that it almost is at that challenge. Ray said something effective a moment ago, this is the place that does policy and practice, and of course we're very much about that. So the reason that there were 21 drafts is that they started with 24 different things you could do and dimensions you could whittle, and they whittled them down to 3. And the challenge going forward will be how to cover the connectivity of all these things in order to serve the mission of the vulnerable, dispossessed, the poor, to serve those populations and to go the last mile. You can't ignore the climate. You can't ignore questions of food supplies or supply chains and other questions. At the same time, you can't do all that yourselves. So how will this plan come to life in a way that keeps the focus and does not exclude all of the related areas of study, research, and practice, but does employ those partnerships effectively to make sure we don't exclude them and that they're meaningful dialogue partners in the central mission, which is to eliminate poverty. So, you've got it, I think, structured well, you've got it framed well, you have a dean that does know how to keep time with his own speeches, but we can overcome that. I'm very proud of this, pleased with it, and thank you for it.